This is Andrew Park's podcast slash live video or recording of the Covenant and Piety. My main key points from it. I think the first one, as you said in your recording, was intellectual history, which is a purposive discourse, which is a speech by a group of intellectual leaders seeking to analyze, persuade a topic. You also discussed all sorts of history. There could be eventual economical. But the main thing before you can start intellectual histories, you must understand economic, political, religious, social, and historical context. I think a second main point from the last class was Winthrop's voyage, and you contrasted how it's a religious story between Puritanism and the Church of England. The Church of England was the Anglican Church, while Puritanism was individualistic. They thought they were godly, and so obviously when the two parties clashed, or Winthrop decided to take his hike across the Atlantic. The next point I thought was important when you started asking the people's question. The first question was about what was Edwards' point, and you wrote down his propositive discourse was to talk to all the fracturing groups of Puritanism, Protestantism, and even the people of Age of Reasoning and Age of Enlightenment, asking different questions. And then another good point in the class you guys discussed about was the difference between inspiration of Augustine and Calvin. And the first one was Augustine believed the city of man is the city of God, and we're constantly striving to get there, to the city of God. But we also struggle with love in itself. And the way to get there is you have to learn celestial principle of conduct to get the ticket of heaven. While Calvin was more about human deprived, some are there, some are not already there, and we're not sure what group we're in. And then, so I get sports updates. And one of the last questions, I think it was Harry's question. I couldn't really understand the question because of background noise, but you kept them discussing about how Winthrop was always elected to New England Senate, and we asked why is he always elected, and maybe it's because he's always loved or revered or respected or feared. And also I think the last thing is really important you said was Winthrop always says it's important to love one another and giving back to the community. And then the last question was Helen's, which is a better, Winthrop's positive approach or Edwards' negative approach? If I was there, I would have answered Edwards' approach was probably better back in that time, just because people didn't know anything else. They didn't have understanding and reasoning of what other opinions and thoughts were out there, so they just would believe anything that they were scared of. So this is my review.